Hey, what's going on out there, YouTube family? This is Samuel Legate representing Team JBS. This is another review for Lovecraft Country. This is the episode before the finale, episode 9. The name of this episode is called Rewind. Me and Lucas Moore will be doing an in-depth discussion / spoiler review of it, so definitely go and check that out. This is a non-spoiler review, but so this kicks off from what happened the last episode, which it was insane. I mean, it was a gore fest. It was trippy. It was out there. But the biggest thing was the catalyst. What happened with the D? D, she was cursed, and the creature, got her and infected her, and she's basically turning into it. And at the time, finally everybody's acting like they care. Everybody's actually going, being attentive to D and trying to be there, hold all hands and arms, trying to do what they can. Matter of fact, they get so desperate that they're trying to seek Christina's help and trying to figure out if there's anything they can do. And the only way they can do anything about it is they have to get something. And that's all I'm going to kind of say from there. One thing I did like about this episode is I think there was some really strong acting moments. And the crazy thing about the acting moments is that it was compounded. Like, there's a lot of things that they kind of built up throughout most of the series, even though it's been told in an anthological kind of way where it makes it distorted from the pacing standpoint and from the storytelling standpoint, where there's a lot of gaps and a lot of exposition that are wasted. But this one kind of pays off to a lot of it. Specifically, a conversation that early on happens with a revelation that Tick finally gets an understanding about, and just that emotional breakdown of what that meant, it just messed him up. It rocked him. And even more than that, I think that the standout as far as acting is concerned in this episode was definitely Michael Kenneth. Jonathan Majors does an amazing job. Granted, like he definitely stood up in a way that I was kind of like, yo, this man is like a superhero. Like he carries himself like a superhero. Like he is, the focal point of the show. Like, in a lot of ways, in a lot of respects, like, he really does carry a lot of weight with the character side of things and the way his character actually moves and maneuvers around. And it's not as though like he's untouchable. Matter of fact, he is very flawed and vulnerable in a lot of different standpoints from an emotional standpoint. Like, emotionally, he is vulnerable, and his dad is no different. And one of the things about this, them going back into the past, back to 1921, which, if you know Watchmen, you would understand why the significance behind that. That's all I'm going to kind of say. But the second and third acts of this really do build on that situation, that moment in time. I think that Watchmen did it a whole lot better in terms of the way that it was captured. But the emotional turmoil of what was really going on in terms of the family experiencing it, it was hard to watch. It really was hard to watch. Some moments in the third act, I was like, some of the main characters. One thing I don't want, I feel like the show just like overrides it, that these characters have so much trauma that they should literally be dealing with like PTSD on an excessive level. Specifically, like characters like Letty, like, she died, you know what I'm saying? And of course, a lot of the callous of things that she did and motivations she did were prompted from that. Even like her coming to faith is because of that. But they haven't really telegraphed the amount of trauma they're dealing with, because there's so many things that's compacting, that's happening. And I want that after this episode, I want there to be real emotional weight to everything that transpires in this episode, because there's a lot. There's a conversation that happens on the second or third act with Atticus and his dad that, like, it was hard. It really was. It really was a hard tear-jerking one, because the thing I love about this episode is that everything about who his dad is, who Atticus' dad is, Montrose's story is really, like, just unpacked it in a way that, man, only Michael Kenneth could have, like, done it in this way. Like, he crushed this episode. He really did. From a storytelling standpoint, like, they They got his character perfect. And there's some surprises. There's some people that kind of get all hands on deck. The situation that happens, though, it kind of all I can say is a symbol. Like it just. I was like, what is this show at this point? Like there was a moment that I questioned. I was like, what am I watching? Man, like for real, for real. And I mean, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but when I have to kind of, you know, comprehend what I'm actually really seeing and assessing whether or not this is something that, you know, makes sense, I don't know. I feel like this show has just gone completely off the rails in a certain level. But this was a very entertaining episode. This was a very emotionally resonant one. Was it a important one? I think that they've already kind of like definitely leveled certain things from African American history and events that happened that have been catastrophic in a way that is literally broken the foundations for a lot of hurt and a lot of pain that, you know, we as people have gone through, and they've kind of dabbled in it. But I feel like how do I say this? I'm gonna go in more depth in my spoiler review, but I feel like there's been some holding back of what the reality and the ramifications, some things that's going on. I think this is the only episode that I can say that the ramifications of what's really happening, the weight behind it, you really do feel it. Like, and it's horrible. Like, it's not, I mean, there is like magic and stuff involved, but the stuff that's going on in the 1920 situation, 21 situation, is not, like, it's just evil. Like, it's just a straight up massacre. And I think that the thing about it is they showed the aftermath of what happened, but they didn't show necessarily what I thought they were going to try to do, which is, you know, the malice and the heart behind why this was even happening. It was just kind of like, this is the point in time, this is what you have to hold on, basically. There is some interesting revelations that Letty questions Ruby about when it comes to like somebody like Christina. That was very fascinating, but it leads the character Ruby down this really unforeseen path, in my personal opinion. And I also questioned like why Letty would take part in this rescue attempt at all, given that she is pregnant, regardless if she's, you know, completely invulnerable. But yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed this review. I'll talk to you guys later on. Keep it locked. JVS, we ain't gonna stop. We're gonna go into more in depth with the spoiler review. Peace, guys.